You don't have to run around trying to prove yourself. You were made of starlight and wisdom of old. And the world will try to tell you to become what you are not. Just remember you are more than enough. There's a beauty in your eyes and a life in your smile.
The city was also part of a royal domain of the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem. The port of Akko provided the king with a major income. After the second Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem that was then established was much smaller than the first one. It did not include Jerusalem, and then Akko became the capital city. For the next 100 years, Akko was the seat of the Crusader government as well as the Patriarch of Jerusalem for most of this period, and often the heads of the military orders. These functions, in addition to the thriving commerce of the busy port, made Akko the most important and cosmopolitan city in the Frankish East, playing a pivotal role in the maritime trade with Europe. It continues to serve as a gateway for the pilgrims to the Holy Land until the fall of the Latin Kingdom in 1291 BC.
There's nothing that can keep you from the life that you deserve. If you remember, you are more than enough. Just remember, you are more than
The old Akko is a port city on the peninsula, and it is known for its well-preserved old city walls. A visit to this ancient city is an important part of the Holy Land experience and one of Israel's main tourist destinations. Known for the centuries as the gateway to the Holy Land due to its locations as a port of entry for international dignitaries and trade, Akko provides a unique glimpse into the Crusader and also Ottoman periods in the region. The Knights' Kingdom, a 5,000-year-old story, unfolds inside the walls of this citadel. The museum displays the films, and projected on the wall tells a story of all these crusades. The Knights Hall. This authentic world-class site is one of the leading historical sites in Israel. Walking through the Knights Hall takes you back to the Crusaders period and makes you feel the everyday life atmosphere of the Knights. The Hospitallers were a military, simple order devoted to caring for the sick in the Holy Land and to maintaining this personal safety of pilgrimage who flock to the holy sites. They managed hospitals in Jerusalem and also in Akko. Treasures in the War Museum. Akko's Treasures in the War Museum, located inside the northeastern walls of the old Akko. Its aim is to preserve the city's fascinating historical heritage and stored authentic sites from the past. The walls are initially built during Ottoman rule after Napoleon's attempt to conquer the city in 1799. The commander's tower is divided into arched halls which were used to hold the Ottoman's garrison and now holds this beautiful and rare collection. Hundreds of items displayed in the museum enable the visitors to get acquainted with the traditional craftsmanship who worked in the markets. The spectacular feature of the city's elite residents and also the fabric of life in the city that was a unique meeting place of art and religion. The majestical blend of the original stone hall and the hundreds of objects on display relates to life in Galilee during the 19th and also the beginning of the 20th centuries. The right wing includes furniture, vessels, clocks and other collectible items from the past. Another pearl in the museum is the rounded inner courtyard on whose wall cannons once stood. El Basha Turkish Bathhouse. The Turkish bathhouse, which is named or which is referred to as Hammam, was built at the end of the 18th century by Governor of Akko, Yazar Pasha. The Turkish bath construction was part of a transformation of the Akko during the Ottoman period from a small fishing village into a teeming port city and the major construction and trade center. Among this accomplishment is the aqueduct which led to the spring water that then provided the city. The dressing room, this is the first room you will enter from the courtyard. This is where the Hammam visitors got undressed and left their clothes, wrapped themselves in special towels and put on their Hammam sandals and went for their various treatments. Then there's the 4 intermediate rooms which are located between the cold room and the hot room. The lukewarm rooms served as various treatments and activity rooms for cosmetic treatment, healing and massage treatment. Dating parties and childbirth preparation sessions. The hot room is the room in the heart of the Hammam. The steam room which houses the sauna and the steam bath. Treatment consisted of scrubbing, soaping and massaging of the body and soul. The small rooms surrounded the central stage were used for individual treatments for the wealthy and also the privileged. For about 150 years from its inception to the War of Independence in 1948, the Hammond served as an active bathhouse. It is where doctors and barbers met. In other words, this was where things happened and where the latest events were discussed. The Templars Tunnel, this fortress and the nearest buildings function as a hospice and a hospital for the many pilgrims who came to the Holy Land during the Crusaders period. In the 12th and 13th century, they first settled in Jerusalem on the Templars' Mount. Hence their name, the Templars, the guardians of the temple. Here at the western edge of the tunnel is where the main fortress of the Templar order was built. The Templar fortress was the strongest one in the city. The tunnel is 150 meters long and it extends from the Templars fortress in the west to the city's port in the east. The lower part of the tunnel is carved in natural stone. The tunnel was discovered in 1994. Akko Development Company, in collaboration with the Antiquity Authority, cleared the way of the dirt and made the tunnel available for visitors to experience. Sea walls, the different sea walls, the route of old Akko walls in the northern moat and includes observation points along the walls that surrounded the city from all sides. This is the northern wall line of Akko, which was built in the 19th century after the Napoleon siege. In this wall, as in the walls that preceded it, secret tunnels were incorporated. They crossed the wall from the inside of the city to the outer moat, and where they were used by the besieged city to introduce supplies and reinforcements under cover of darkness. These secret tunnels were not observed from the enemy lines besieged the city because they were located at the bottom of the moat. Evidence of these attacks is described in history books describing Napoleon's siege of the city in 1799. The port of Akko. Akko's first port was presumably located along the lower section of the Nahaman River. The port was first mentioned in the journey to conquer Egypt in 727 to 725 BC, during which Akko boasted hundreds of ships carrying soldiers, horses and supplies. The fact that Akko served as a base for a fleet of such magnitude indicates that the breakwater had already been built. It was within this context that the large shipyard was built at the port of Akko. However, it had a short lifespan. During the Crusaders' rule, the port of Akko played a more central role. Its naval ties to the west were founded on this port, which was essentially to its very existence. Even though most of the maritime activities were limited from May to October, considering space was required to store goods and equipment for the pilgrimage accommodation, as well as for the repair and anchoring of ships. The central market, the Turkish market, Akko was completely deserted for a period of 150 years, ever since 1291, when the Crusaders were banished from the city. Following this period, a new city was built on top of the remains of the Crusader city. The Bedouin ruler Dahir al-Omar, who established an independent kingdom in the Galilee and made Akko its capital. He renovated the city walls, cleaned the port, and built this private palace in the city. It was during this period that numerous mosques, bathhouses, and bazaars were built to serve the city's citizens. The Turkish bazaar was built in the late 18th century as a municipal market serving the local population. The bazaar now features small shops specializing in the sale of souvenirs and also tourist artifacts. The White Market. The White Market was built by Suleiman Pasha towards the end of his term of office as governor of Akko. The old markets had 110 shops and was usually the commercial center of Akko and in northern Israel. The fire broke out in one of the shops where the worker who was enjoying an afternoon hookah smoked in the shop where he was careless, and the sparks flew on several barrels that was filled with gunpowder. And certain shops now serve as warehouses, and the market's commercial activity was deceased. And nowadays its white color is in name only and based on a plaque in the marketplace somewhere in the western corner. The Market Street. Market Street is the old city's main route running from north to south. During the Crusader period, this street led from the Hospitalers Gate in the north along the market's route, all the way to the port. Nowadays, this route commemorates old Akko's main market, a colourful range of stalls displaying fish, sweet oriental pastries, as well as shops selling perfume and original spice. The market has undergone a restoration process which includes the innovation of the shops, their facades and the market routes. There are several Jewish landmarks at the southern end of the market and inside the old city walls. The Okashi Museum. Adjacent to the Knight's Hall in the old Akko, an ancient building with cruciform domes dated back to the Ottoman period, houses a museum featuring rotating exhibitions of Israel's art alongside the permanent exhibits of the works of a late artist, Avshalom Okasi. he was born in 1916 and died in 1918. Following the Ottoman conquest, use of the port declined and it only served as a marina for the fishing boats. Paintings of the 18th century passengers depicted the southern breakwater and the Crusaders' War, the remains of which remain impressive. The fortified building on the Tower of the Flies was very well preserved, and the mosque was built on top of it. In the beginning of the 19th century, the port was kept in good working order, and it often served the Egyptian fleet and also the Ibrahim Pasha. The port was destroyed during the shelling of Akko by the British and Austrian natives in 1840, when the breakwater wall and the Tower of the Flies were damaged. Akko was undoubtedly one of Israel's most salient artists, and he left an incredible mark on the Israel art. He spent most of his life in Akko, where he set up his painting workshop to pass on to this artistic heritage to future generations. The subjects of his early works are rooted in nature and in the human and spiritual realm of Israel, and they are drawn from the biblical text and grew up on his grandfather's home, which is then situated in Akko. In the surrounding tower, many surfaces are visible for placing cannons for the defense of the city. With the announcement of ground attack cannons, the city wall in the 18th and the 19th century could not withstand the direct attack of heavy cannons. Therefore, the walls of Akko, designed by the French engineer who knew the power of the cannon at the time, and designed the walls after the siege of Napoleon. He also designed particularly these walls as they are much thicker than the previous ones. The wall at which top and in which tower cannons can be placed that will return fire and keep the enemy cannons away from its border. The tower extends westwards towards the sea from the wall line itself. Thus, cannons placed there could keep away any enemy trying to approach and hit the wall from the north or the south, and even keep away any enemy vessel trying to reach the walls from the sea. Old Akko is built on a natural bedrock foundation that encloses the Akko Bay to the west and also forms a peninsula. To its east was the port of Akko. The city was founded on this ledge next to the harbour. The settlement began at this location in the days of Ptolemy II, an Egyptian king who conquered Akko in the second half of the 3rd century. Akko served as a major port city in ancient times, the city of commerce, a major sea gate to the land of Israel.